To talk about the options open to Greece, the director of the Cologne Institute for Economic Research joins us, Michael Hüther. Tell us firstly, the ECB says restructuring Greece's debt would exacerbate the crisis. Why is that?
No, so for the time being, they are saying that it will have a very strong impact on the banking system in Europe, and the banks are still too weak to manage this. But I think in the medium term, it's unavoidable because Greece will manage a primary surplus in their budget of about 5.5% to 6%, and that's unrealistic. So there will be a need for restructuring, but maybe in 2013, it's a little bit time we have.
Well, let's take a look at the debt levels across Europe. Greece has the highest level at the moment. That's no surprise, of course. It's followed by Italy. You can also see there on the graph coming up Ireland and Portugal. Both of those countries are being bailed out too. But the coming weeks are going to be telling as Eurozone leaders decide on exactly what to do with Greece. What do you think Greece wants to do itself? I mean, there have been rumours that it could abandon the euro.
I don't think that it's a good idea for Greece to leave the monetary union, because what is the advantage for Greece? They will have the chance to manage currency and the exchange rate, but in fact it's a country with the very weak competitiveness of the industrial sector. It's true for decades. So what they need is a restructuring of the public sector, and it's better to do it as a partner inside the European Monetary Union and to have assistance from the European institution and the IMF as well. So I think even for Greece and the Greek government, it's a better idea to stay in the monetary union.
Do you think that these rumours, the rumour mongering, could have been a manoeuvre for the Greek government to try to get a new cash injection?
I don't think so. It was a little bit strange management on the last weekend, a secret meeting in Luxembourg, and nobody knows what was the content of that. So I think sometimes you have such a movement in the markets, and it's not a good idea to use this for a tactical or strategic idea.
Well, on that topic, what's this renewed strain doing to the credibility of the Eurozone and its currency?
The best is that the ECB looks on the price stability. That's a core responsibility for the central bank, and that was very successful in the first decade. The second is that we will improve the institutions, and we did in the decisions in March. So I'm a little bit more optimistic than most of my colleagues with the medium-term future of the European Monetary Union. It's Greece with about 3% of GDP of the overall Europe, so it doesn't matter so much in fact.
OK, well, we'll come back to you in a minute. But moving firstly onto another hot topic right now, energy. As Germany adds more renewable energy to the mix, the nation's storage capacity needs to be expanded. One intelligent way of doing this is pumped hydropower. The scheme uses off-peak power, for example, excess wind energy that isn't being used at night, to pump water uphill. When the electricity is needed next morning, it's released. There are about 20 of these power plants around Germany. The biggest of its kind is earmarked for Herrischried in the Black Forest National Park. But as our next report shows, the area's residents aren't very happy about the plans.
Das wird alles abrasiert.
All of this is going to be cut down, detonated, and then piled up. It'll be taller than the forest.
Höher als wie jetzt der Wald ist.
And it's due to happen right on this man's doorstep. Over the next 5 years, developers want to build a new electricity pump storage plant here. Josef Noss has joined together with other local residents like Annemarie Schuler to oppose the project.
We live here, we are privileged enough to live here, and we're obliged to use our energy to protect the area.
There are plans to build a new water basin above their village. There's already an old one. The new one will be twice as large. Press spokeswoman Julia Liebig has the unthankful task of convincing residents of the project's merits.
We're planning a meeting to bring together environmental agencies, local residents, and politicians. We'll be able to discuss things and eventually reach a consensus. And we're constantly informing people. We hold information events in community halls, and we've had a model built. We take it to market squares and inform people.
Power lines from all over Europe converge in the southwestern tip of Germany, partly because the region is home to a large amount of industry. At peak times, such as early afternoon, large amounts of energy are needed. At other times, the quantities of electricity produced by power plants and wind farms risk overloading the grid. At those times, electricity costs next to nothing. Schluckseewerk then uses it to pump water from a low-lying basin to one higher up. When demand and prices increase again, the water is released. It courses downwards through underground pipes to a machine room. There, the water drives a turbine that feeds a generator. The generator produces electricity. The whole process is very quick. The machines only need 90 seconds to reach their maximum performance. The plant can store electricity for 7 hours until the upper basin is empty. This means of storage is much more energy efficient than others.
Pump storage plants have a very high efficiency, 80%. That means if we put in 100% energy, we get 80% back.
Currently, water is pumped from lower-lying to upper-lying basins using a mix of nuclear energy, coal power, and green electricity. Current storage capacities in Germany are sufficient for this combination. But higher shares of wind and solar power will require more.
We won't need any more pump storage plants if we stick to the old system, only if we really want to expand the use of renewable energy.
Annemarie Schüler and Josef Noss also want environmentally friendly electricity. But the increasing number of wind plants on Germany's coasts means more storage plants will be needed, and they can only be built in the mountainous south of the country.
So back to our guest, Mr. Hüther. This all puts Germans in a bit of a predicament. Is there a solution?
There is a solution, but there is not a one-fits-all solution. We need a widespread mix of instruments from renewable energy, it's quite clear, but also the traditional power plants and new technology, we CCS, carbon capture and storage, and we need a large-scale investment in infrastructure, net infrastructure. We need not only a German grid, but also a European grid, because to manage the different volatility of renewable energy, it's best to have a very big region for that.
Well, as far as investment goes in infrastructure and research, there's a huge difference in what used to be invested and what's being invested today.
Now, today, for example, in the research in new energy, we invest about 500 million euros, and 30 years ago it was 1.5 billion. So, in the past, we was more aware of the fact that there's a need in research in energy and new ways to produce energy. And just now we have a public debate on that, and no one is willing to pay additional euro for that.
Isn't that strange, seeing as this topic is such a hot topic right now?
It's a little bit strange. The German debate, it's a real national debate, and then this is only possible to have this solution in Germany if all the other European partners did different and do it a different way. And, for example, France will stay on nuclear power plant and the Czech Republic as well.
Now, it was the crisis in Japan, of course, that sparked this debate. Since the nuclear disaster there, Germany's taken about half of its nuclear reactors offline, but the lights haven't gone out here. How is Germany managing to do it?
We manage it, but since the middle of March, the start of the moratorium, we have a net import of energy, and until that we have a net exporter of energy. So we are there's room for maneuver, but there's no more. There's no way to skip another power plant from our infrastructure, and we should be aware that there is a situation. We have time to discuss on that, and we have a little bit period to debate. But what we need is a medium-term solution, and we need starting an investment program in all different kinds of energy and
especially
production.
Because a lot of that energy that's being imported is nuclear energy. From other countries.
Some of that, from France, for example, and from the Czech Republic on the other side. And we have now a possibility to differentiate between the energy, what is important from outside, what is imported from outside. So I think, yes, we should have a European debate, and we should be aware of the fact that the German debate is a little bit strange sometimes.
Michael Hüther, thank you very much for coming in and joining us today.
Thank you for the invitation.